The footage you will be seeing in this video is in the beta version of the mod. Many changes are yet to come, so it will look slightly different in the future. Huge thanks to Praise Heavy Lobster for giving me the beta access. Oh my god, is that Raiko, that one Toho boss? Alright, jokes aside, Raiko is a VIP boss from the Maelstrom Mod. It takes the form of a satellite and has some nasty bullet hell pattern. On first glance, Raiko may as well just look like, well, your typical projectile spam boss. But do not worry, Raiko is actually an interesting approach to designing a good bullet hell boss in Terraria. Most bullet hell bosses greatly suffer from Terraria's mobility mechanics. For example, those crazy attack patterns in Toho will not work well in the context of Terraria, since unlike Toho, in Terraria you have physics, such as gravity, that can make such precise movements needed to dodge such attacks simply impossible to be performed. However, Raiko manages to find a way to remain fair even with such intense and chaotic bullet patterns. One of Raiko's most unique mechanics is being able to reduce your hitbox and grants infinite wing flight time, making performing very precise dodging possible without having to deal with vanilla's physics as they were not designed for a bullet hell. Such mechanic allows the players to experience different kinds of scenarios that would normally be possible under normal circumstances without it feeling too overwhelming. Raiko also has some interesting gimmicks, such as the ability to create gushes of wind to toy with your movement, and even going behind the background to create such a bizarre 3D visual effect. All of those I just talked about were only the mechanics, outlining how much more complex the fight is than what a glance at first sight can show. In terms of attacks, Raiko has a bunch of bullet hell patterns that have interesting behavior. Rather than just your typical basic bullet hell that is being shot in a straight line, some of the projectiles are used in a very smart way, like projectiles that limit the player's movement option, projectiles that curve, projectiles that act as if it's moving like electricity, and even projectiles that are shot from the background sky. These patterns create a different kind of bullet hell experience, making the fight more interesting than just random projectile bullshit go. While Raiko does possess some interesting traits, the fight can sometimes feel a little bit unadjusted in terms of the pacing. The fight can sometimes feel sluggish, but sometimes it can feel very fast, making the pacing a little bit inconsistent. Some parts of the fight can sometimes feel a little bit generic, because there are no other mixes aside from heavy projectile reliant attacks. But despite some of the above-mentioned flaws, Raiko still manages to feel incredibly enjoyable and interesting, even when it's still a work-in-progress boss. To finish it off, you could also fight it in Rage for some additional challenge for those who come to prove themselves worthy.